Welcome to Awakening Women's Wisdom, the podcast where we have conversations with women of diverse backgrounds about how they weave conscious grace, which is kindness, compassion, and thoughtfulness, into their daily life, and then get a little nugget of wisdom that they've gleaned along the way. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Laurine. Welcome back to Awakening Women's Wisdom. We were just talking. It's a place that's safe and kind and gentle, and a place to share wisdom. So I'm looking forward to our guest today. I'll toss back to Rebecca so she can introduce her properly.
Yes. So this is I'm going to say friend. This is another wonderful woman. I have never had the opportunity to meet in person because she's in Europe. This is Flora Bami. She is a beautiful soul. She works with coaching, and I like her little statement on her website that says, "Be the spring in your life," because she brings a lot of positivity and authenticity, not only to her work as a coach, but also to life. So welcome, Flora.
Hi, both of you. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Laurine. Thanks a lot for having me. It's my privilege, honor, and my pleasure to be here with you and share my wisdom, whatever it is, but I'm sure it will benefit a lot of women out there.
I'm sure too, yes. Thank you for being here. So I've given a little bit of an introduction to you, but why don't you share a little bit about yourself to give us, our listeners, a little framework of what you do and who you are.
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. So I loved what you said about hosting here women with diverse backgrounds. So I have a very diverse background, and my soul decided to come into this world in Greece many years ago, going through some traumatic and challenging childhood experiences, and I always wanted freedom. I always wanted to leave my parents' place and then to go somewhere else in order to find expression, free expression of my true self. Um, so for the biggest part of my life, I was following the normal script that we all do, right? Until one point when we start our journey. So studying, being the best student, being the best child for my parents, and then finding the first job, and then going through the corporate kind of world, different roles, different companies. So I've been working for 4 different big organizations, American, Japanese, European, Swiss now, in different places and spaces, from finance, audit, supply chain finance, diversity and inclusion, when they started being like getting so much attention in the world in 2018, and then well-being. And since 2019, I'm 100% on well-being, the corporate world. But what really changed my life is coaching. So coaching came in my life as a gift in 2016, when my boss at that time in the corporate world at PepsiCo, they laid me off because of restructuring, but I had such an amazing boss and said, Flora, I think you should look at coaching. And in 2016, I had no idea what coaching was like. Yeah, right. And she connected me with her coach, and this is how I tapped into my curiosity muscle. I'm very curious as long as I'm free to express it and to explore that. And then, yeah, by going through my first certification, coaching people, being coached, I was doing some therapy, mindfulness, Reiki. So all these little things, I started kind of collaborating together and changing me. They started 2016. I'm still in this journey, and I've been exploring so different, but modalities. But at the end of the day, I believe that all these different modalities, they have the same basis, the same source, the same foundation, just that they're expressed differently. So it could be happiness training, many coaching trainings on different things, relationships, love, leadership coaching. I'm an integral coach, which actually it's a philosophy that, in my view, can literally change our lives and heal the world. So when I coach people, I would coach them on a mind, heart, body, and soul level, because we need to find harmony across these 4. And what I'm trying to do is to master, to role model all these 4 pillars for myself first. So the mind, I think it's something that I mastered because I had to survive into this world. But then spirituality was the one that I would say kind of started changing and shifting many things. And now I think I'm mastering somatics, so the body, the wisdom of the body, with your support as well. And heart is something I think that it opens up once we connect with our soul. So yeah, I'm very spiritual. I call myself spiritual junkie, but what I'm doing is I bring all these practices to my daily corporate life, my dating life, my kind of relationships with family, parents, friends, challenging relationships, but also in how I manifest things. So yeah, different. I lived in Greece. Now I live in Switzerland. I love traveling a lot, and I keep learning and studying. Now I'm doing my heart math certification again with the Heart Math Institute of
Ah,
California.
nice.
I've been into yoga, yin yoga, and yoga nidra. I'm guiding my own meditations. I use a lot the saboteurs, the positive intelligence methodology as well in my coaching. And I will never stop learning something new, but I try to follow the flow, like what my soul needs most, so as I have bigger impact into the world. And to summarize, coaching helped me to find my purpose. So my mission in this world, be the spring in your life. It's something that came up. Being the spring in others' life was my kind of narrative. This is how I grew up. And at some point, I realized, thanks to coaching, that first I have to be the spring in my life, not always for others, right? So I want to inspire people, to help them, to support them to be happier and better. So it's really about having positive impact on the world through my coaching, my wisdom, my energy, my presence into the world, and offering whatever I can to people around me.
Well, thank you. That's very informative, and already I think that you've woven many nuggets of wisdom and grace into just describing where you're from and how you got to here. Um, I love words very much, especially words that have multiple meanings. And your phrase, be the spring in your life, obviously is one of those because of the happiness. It brings a spring and a vibrancy to your demeanor and your approach to life, but also the spring being that time where we're beginning to flourish. So that to me is beautiful. I was delighted very much when I learned about that as your phrase. But as you said, you also have a foot in the corporate world, and this has been a bridging of some pretty distinctly different ways of expressing. So I'm interested to know how you keep your feet on the ground, things that keep you balanced when you're straddling a corporate environment, but also nurturing this ability to be coaching others based on how you've been healing and learning and growing in your own life.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the answer is very simple and short: self care, right? For me, as we discussed when we chatted earlier, so self care is the foundation of everything. And actually, this morning I had a session with a client, and we were talking about that. Wherever you look, whatever training you may do, self care is the foundation, but also holistic self care. So of course, the basics like sleep, nutrition, we are what we eat, and sports and movement. So those three pillars, but especially sleep, based on science, the most important thing. So I'm really trying to prioritize that. But I do think that the way that we sleep really mirrors what happens during the day. So if my nervous system is on survival mode, is like super agitated during the day, and I don't have the tools to release the stress, to handle, to process the stress or the tension, I'm not going to have a good quality sleep. So that's why I think everything is interconnected. So for me, my kind of powerful tools, which are non-negotiables anymore for years, morning meditation and evening meditation. I need to meditate. For me, it's like drinking water in the morning, and then in the evening. Can be yoga nidra, can be joy dispensa, can be just me sitting, can be zazen meditation, can be deep imaginings with Lacey Phillips, whatever I need. But I need this space of disconnecting and either listen to something that helps me, or just silence. So I think time in silence is literally what I see also from my corporate experience. It's literally something that people are craving. We're craving for silence, right? Because we are so busy and overstimulated all the time. And we need this silence. Silence is so nourishing for our body, our soul, right? Because through silence, we will open up to our souls, to divine, whatever is up there, and get answers and get guidance. And it's so uplifting, but at the same time nourishing for in a holistic way. Yoga is also something, yoga and movement. So what I learned is that because I was always super structured, now I'm going on the other side, free movement, whatever my body needs. Can be dancing, can be boating up, but running, but really listening to the needs of my body and not structuring also how I'm going to move my body, right? As I do during my working hours. So
Nice.
movement and yoga are also super nourishing for me. Taking my breaks, I think, helping my mind to disconnect and connecting with something that is positive, like can be nature, can be drinking water, stretching. Shaking is something that I added over the last months, just a bit of shaking. Um, and I wouldn't, yeah, these are things that I wouldn't negotiate them. And then Sundays for me are my sacred days because I would spend half of my Sunday just for 1 hour meditation, 1 hour yoga, and then I have some spiritual practices that I do, some channeling or to get some guidance, my oracle cards. I just ordered the one that you recommended to me. So it's my day where I would just um, let my soul kind of guide me, and I will open up to guidance and see what's there. Uh,
Beautiful.
so slow, taking it very slow. And at the same time, what is important, because I think there is a lot of fatigue in the corporate world. It's very challenging, but at the same time, I truly believe that it's a place for me to grow. So I'm always reflecting on, okay, what's happening there? What do I need to learn? What am I learning from that? Which kind of skills do I need to improve in order to flow in the corporate world? And I managed this summer to get so many compliments around how am I able to flow in the corporate world, which is not that easy.
Ah,
So I think there's a reason that my soul decided to put me into this space for now, because I'm growing, I'm learning. You know, every challenge is a teacher. Every challenging environment is a great teacher, but at the same time, I truly believe that the corporate world needs people like us more than ever because
yes.
it's dominated by egos, by the mind. And then if we keep ignoring our soul, spirit, heart, and body, and the body unfortunately is just it's shutting down right into these conditions, then we are not our true selves, and then we are not performing at our best. So there's something missing. That's why I think us being more present and bringing hope, bringing wisdom, sharing what we learned through our path, this path which has a lot of freedom and authenticity, is something that is so much needed at this point.
Absolutely.
Enormously. No, I'm curious. Thank you for sharing your journey and your philosophies and your wisdom. But there's a little, I'd like to pull it back a little bit. As you were journeying through the corporate world, and you said you started feeling the pull towards the more spiritual aspects, what was the catalyst, or what was the inner something that you were listening to? Because I'm imagining people listening going, I'm in corporate, but how do I get into that beautiful depth of the spiritual world, however it is that it might be expressed in your experience?
The catalyst for my spiritual path was not the corporate world at all, was my relationships. So when coaching came into my life, at that time I had I was going through some challenges with my relationship with my father, but also my love relationships, right, with men, which were always challenging. I observed the pattern, always attracting emotionally unavailable men until one point in my life. And then, yeah, you say, why? There's something there, because in other areas of my life, life, things were flowing and they always flow. There's kind of trust and confidence. You know when things come to you. But in relationships, this was my kind of assignment from the universe that Flora, okay, this is where you need to grow. But at that time, in 2015, 14, I had no idea about the wisdom that I'm sharing with you now. But this was the trigger, a very difficult relationship, a toxic relationship. And then coaching helped me to get out of this and then just to open and say, okay, I need to heal if I want to attract and manifest something different. So this was the catalyst. But then what I realized, because I think having a spiritual path and practice and learning more about that is not something that is isolated because it's part of me. So I'm bringing that into the corporate world as well, right? Because
Yes.
once you find your true self, there's no other way than just being authentic. And in the beginning, I remember 3 years ago, I talked about spiritual well being, and I've been challenged. But then I said, no, guys, it's part of us. I cannot just bypass spiritual well being because emotional, mental, physical well being, social, they all go together. And since then, I keep talking about that, just our values, our purpose, our why. So, yeah, and this has been happening organically, right? 5 years ago, it was not easy for me to talk about these things in the corporate world, but now I'm 100% myself there. But the catalyst was something completely different.
It's beautiful, and I think that that is something really wonderful for our anybody to hear how you bridged that.
Yeah.
You've shared a number of things that happened, that you've mentioned actually specific years where things happened, and now you've grown and learned so much. You've lived in different countries. Is there something, a little bit of wisdom that you would share with your younger self that you've learned at this point that you'd say, oh, this kind of would have been a helpful thing for me back then, and I didn't know because you needed to experience life?
Yes. I think first I would apologize for not being that present with little Flora. I started
Ah,
talking to her in 2018, I think.
no, I just feel that.
My relationship with her, right? That, yeah, there is Flora, but there's also the little Flora that is there waiting for love, for
Mm,
care, for presence, for to be heard, to be seen. So first I would apologize for not having done that earlier. And then what I would tell her is that you are free, because for me freedom was a theme in my life. Just I wanted to, like, you are free to be yourself, and it's a journey, trust the journey, but at some point you will reach the point where you will be 100% free to be your true self and to express that openly and freely with everyone. So as she moves out of the cage of some heavy emotion, sadness and grief and stress that I inherited from my mom and family, and how my soul decided to come into this world. So as she has this, because I think she was in this cage. That's why butterfly was always one of my favorite narratives in coaching. Laurine, knowing about coaching, right? Butterfly, just going out of the cage and being free. That yes, one day you will be free. So have faith, enjoy the journey because it's your kind of choice subconsciously, and don't get that much kind of dragged into these heavy emotions. They're just energies and they flow. And smile more, for sure. Smile more and move more.
yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Beautiful advice.
I feel little Rebecca, little Becky is feeling that too.
Yeah, that's enormous, though, for any woman at any age to remember the child within, and
Yes.
it's never too late to go back and acknowledge, heal, love that little one that's in us. So bravo, beautifully said.
Yes.
Yeah, and I believe that for women, this is super important. And I don't know when is the right age to start connecting with our inner child, but I think this relationship would is the most important relationship to make us also great mothers, even though I'm not a mother yet. But I think by working with my inner child, I learned so many things that now I understand the basics, at least, that most of women, they have no idea, right? Because we haven't been exposed to any education around that, right? We just go through one thing after another. So I think it's such a great investment to look into this relationship, because then this will make us better mothers, and the world needs mothers that are more present and more available emotionally, physically, and energetically to their child in order to make our planet a better place to live. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think it's a responsibility that we have as women, right?
Beautifully said.
It's deep, but
Beautifully said. Well, that's kind of why we kind of created this. It's to give women voice, because there's so much wisdom in your heart, our hearts.
Yes.
And if given the opportunity to just speak and share in a loving and informal way, look at the nuggets that have come out so far in the few minutes we've been talking to you. It's been so many beautiful things that people can use every day in their lives to make their life better, and even to see themselves. Bravo.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago, it made so much sense to me. There's two ways that we learn, and one is through knowledge and one is through experience. And there's only so much experience that we can gain. When we learn from other people's experiences, it just absolutely enriches and expands what we can learn, because someone else has walked where we can't or haven't had an opportunity to walk. So this is very rich.
yeah, that's true.
Well done. Well done. So you've shared so much with us, and I'm grateful for the time you've given us. You've given us philosophies and wisdom and experiences. Is there one last little nugget that you could leave us with? Something to perhaps use as a mantra for the women listening?
I think my invitation to women would be to take the time and the energy to explore more around our divine feminine aspect of ourselves. Start thinking about are we operating, are we showing up into the world from our wounded feminine or divine feminine? And also masculine, right? I think the majority of women there, especially in the corporate world, they're going through life through the wounded masculine and wounded feminine. And the feminine, unfortunately, is really low in terms of energy, in terms of presence. And my biggest learning so far is really to honor, really to connect with our true nature, which is this divine feminine. From this beautiful place, we can create life first. We can create joy, love, happiness, right? And we have so much power within us. And I think again, it's our responsibility, but also we can do that once we start kind of reflecting, exposing ourselves to what does it mean actually? What is this divine feminine and how can I nourish her more? Because the way that we grew up and our society is masculine driven, and that's fine. But there's another aspect that is needed, and that's why we're not that balanced in the world at the moment. It's this divine feminine. And thanks, Rebecca, also for this amazing book that you recommended to me about Lemuria. But there are simple, I mean, just some oracle decks or just some use ChatGPT to what is divine feminine, which are the qualities of wounded feminine versus divine feminine, and how am I showing up to the world? And actually, the wounded aspects of both masculine and feminine are simply traumas that we adopted from our parents, and it's the generation trauma that we keep bringing forward and forward. But there's another way which is literally within us, and that's our wisdom at the end of the day. And I think once women do that, then we can do miracles, right? We can go out to the world and heal the world. Once first we need to heal ourselves and then become better mothers, and then also at work blossom and flourish, but with our authentic voice and not trying to change the masculine. They have their own journey. We need to honor our own journey and to find authenticity, right? The authentic divine feminine energy and expression. Not one mantra, it's quite long, but
Well, it's a core nugget. It
Yeah.
is just
Beautifully said.
so true and timely. I'm so grateful that you really expanded on that, Flora, because I think that there is um, there's just so much there waiting to be healed and birthed and heard and expressed and experienced. And the more that we get connected to that within ourselves, and then start seeing and expressing that and connecting with that in the world. I love how you highlighted it's not just the wounded divine feminine, it's also the wounded divine masculine, and we're working at healing all of this together, and not pointing fingers, but an embracing of who we are. So I love the balance of all that. I love the balance of what you do with the corporate world, but how you also bring in the balance of mind, body, spirit. This has just been a wonderful conversation. Lots to think about. I can listen to this multiple times and get glean new things from it. So thank you so much for giving us this little glimpse into the joy and love and wellness that you bring to the world. And thank you for honoring yourself so that you can be that.
Thanks a lot. Always a pleasure. I really enjoyed that, and I feel much, much better now. And it has been an uplifting, I would say, conversation. So thanks for offering this space to me and for creating this space for women to join you and share our wisdom.
Thanks, Flora, for being here. You clearly are an amazing coach and a beautiful soul. And please come again. Come meet with us again.
Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you to you, Flora, and also to our listeners for tuning in. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Next one.
Bye-bye.